Welcome. I have a new challenge for you. Are you ready? Okay, let's take a look. In this challenge, you're gonna create a program that will display the parts of a day dynamically. By dynamically, I mean it will get the current hour automatically. Let me show you how it's gonna work. Okay, so if it's the morning time, then your program should print good morning like this. Or if it's afternoon, it should print good afternoon like this. Or if it's evening time, then it should print good evening like this. And lastly, if it's the night time, then it should print good night like this. To solve this challenge, you need to use the time package. Let me show you. Here is the time package. It allows you to work with the time values. It provides a lot of functionalities working with time. You've seen it before a lot. It's my favorite package inside the library. Anyway, let's take a look at its online documentation. This is the documentation of the now function of the time package. By using this function, I can learn about the current time. So when I call it, it would return a new time value. Let's take a look. Let me scroll down to the time type here. As you can see, it has a lot of methods declared on it. Since I will display a message depending on the current hour, so the one I'm looking for is this hour method here. Alright, let's take a look. It says that hour returns the hour within the day specified by t in the range 0-23. This means that it gets the current time from the t variable here, and then it returns a number between 0 and 23. As you can guess, these numbers correspond to hours in a day. T variable's value will be time.now, so it will contain the current time. And since the hour method is declared on the time type, it can return the current hour. So let me summarize what you've seen from the online documentation. When you call time.now function, it returns the current time as a value with a time type. It's like returning a new instance of the time type. And it initializes the new instance to the current time and returns it back to you as a value. And as you've seen in the online documentation, the return time value contains a lot of methods for working with time. One of them is this hour method. It lets us get the hour from the time value. 0 means midnight, 23 means 11 p.m., and so on. Note that this hour method will be called on an instance of a time type. So it will get the current hour if the time value is created by calling time.now. What it will return depends on the time value. Alright, to solve this challenge, you should use the hour method from the time package, okay? It returns the current hour. And you should only use a switch statement. Preferably, you can use a short switch statement, okay? Alright, that's your challenge. Good luck. Bye for now. Welcome back. In this coding lecture, I'm gonna solve the parts of a day challenge. Let's get started. Alright, now let's get back to the code. Now I'm gonna short declare a variable age like this. This will store the current hour. Now I'm gonna call the now function from the time package. Then in turn, from it, I'm gonna call hour method. As I showed you before, time.now here returns a time value for the current time. And it has an hour method. As you can see, it returns the hour as an int. So now this age variable here is also an int variable. Okay, let's print this variable to the console like this. Now let's run it. As you can see, it prints the current hour. Alright, let's get back and print the part of the day using this hour variable. First, I'll check whether the current hour is around evening like this. If so, then I'll print good evening. Now let's check for the afternoon part of the day like this. So if it's not the evening time, Go will check this second case condition. So if the hour is greater than or equal to 12, then it should be afternoon. As you can see, the order of the case clauses are very important to this program. On each case, I'm trying to narrow the range of hours. Now let's check for the morning part of the day like this. And lastly, if the hour is less than 6, then it should be night, then Go as a last resort will execute this default clause. Now the program is ready. Now let's move this short declaration into the switch statement like this. I'm going to cut it from here and move it to here. Here I've just moved the short declaration. Then I'll put the separator next to it with an empty condition. Remember, an empty condition means true. First, let me set my clock to a morning hour from here. Apply. OK. Now let's run the program. Cool. Good morning to you too. But it's not morning here. I've just faked it. Anyway. Now I'm going to set my time to afternoon. OK, let's run it now. Good. Now it says good afternoon. Now let's set my time to evening. Now it says good evening. And lastly, let's set my time to a night hour. Good, it works perfectly. By the way, since I've declared the age variable inside the switch statement, it won't be available here. So for example, I can't print it like this. As you can see, Go says that it doesn't exist here. You can learn more information about this in the if statement scoping and the shadowing lectures, by the way. Alright, that's all for now. See you in the next lecture. Bye-bye. Welcome. In this coding lecture, I'm going to show you a comparison between an if statement and a switch statement, so you'll clearly see which one to use and when. Let's take a look. In this program, I'm going to get a month name from the command line. Then I will print the season. Let's first check that there are enough arguments. I'm expecting only one argument, so I'm going to check for that like this. If len os.args not equal to 2. You've seen this a lot of times before, so I'm not going to explain it again. Alright, now let's assign the month into the m variable. M short declare os.args1. Okay, first I'm going to check for the winter months. If m is December, or January, or February. Okay, then I'm going to print winter. Println winter. Okay. If the month isn't a winter month, then let's check for the spring months this time. Else if m equals to March, or April, or May. Okay, now I'm gonna print spring. Okay. If the month isn't a spring month either, then let's check for the summer months instead. Else if m equals to June, or July, or August. Okay, now I'm going to print summer. Okay, and lastly, let's check for the fall months. Else if m equals to September, or October, or November. Okay, done. Then I'm going to print fall. Okay, Let's put an else branch here. So if the user provides a wrong month name, I'm gonna let the user know that it's a wrong month name. fmt printf %q is not a month. New line. Now I'm gonna pass am. Okay, this is a good behavior. You should always display meaningful error messages like this. Okie dokie. Now let's try it. First, let's call it directly without a month name. It prints give me a month. It detects that. Good. Now let's give it a winter month like this. February. Great, it says it's a winter month. Now let's give it a spring month. April. Cool, now it says it's a spring month. And lastly, let's try it with a wrong month name like this. Good, it displays the error message. Okay, this code looks messy, right? I don't know about you, but it's hard to read, at least for me. Now let me show you how can I transform this into a switch statement. This will make it more readable. Actually, the whole point of a switch statement in Go is to make longer if statements more readable. Okay, now I'm gonna type a short switch. I'm gonna declare the am variable here first. Then, as its condition, I'm gonna type the am variable here. Alright. Now I'm gonna duplicate this if statement here. I'm gonna remove it right inside the switch statement. Now I'm gonna select all the comparisons with Command D. I don't need them. Let's remove them. Good. Now I'm gonna select all the logical operators. Let's convert them to commas instead. Okay, good. Now let's select these else if branches. Let's make them case clauses instead. Let's also change this if here to a case clause. And let's convert this else branch to a default case. Now let's convert these opening curly braces to colons. And lastly, let's remove the closing braces. Alright, done. Let's try it. Let's run it a few times with different months. Go run main.go February, with April, with June, with November. Cool, it still works. And lastly, let's try it with a dummy month name again. Okay, it works. Now let's compare this switch to the if statement above. I see a huge difference. This is what I was trying to tell you. So when you have an unreadable if statement, like this, try to change it into a switch statement instead. Now let's remove the if statement for good. Alright, that's all for now. Thank you for watching. See you in the next lecture. Bye bye.